Hello everyone, as usual it's me Pavlo and today we'll be talking about interesting on-ear headphones made by ROSESELSA and model named Distant Mountain. They have a pretty unique vintage look and a lot of attention to the material and details. Also, opinions about these headphones are pretty opposite on the internet, so I decided to have a look myself and figure out what they can offer. Their price is from $65 to $70. I will add links to the Hi-Fi Go shop in the description. And let's have a closer look. Package is really impressive, and it's the case when presentation looks much more expensive than the price of the headphones themselves. Nice white cardboard and a lot of information printed on the all sides, and even mentioned genuine lambskin, composite topological diaphragm, so a lot of features listed here. And we're going inside. It was packaged more accurately. I already took them out and didn't pack them as accurate as they were initially. But you can clearly see that package inspired by the best examples of package design on the market. You'll get headphones themselves, two spare ear pads, and one almost impossible to pull out box. So I don't know what did they think about this part, but for me, as a for person who cares about accurate unboxing and boxing experience, it's far from being optimal. I need to dive inside, and you can see that I already turned it a little bit, not by much, but anyway. So giveaway, it's acrylic stand for the headphones or just figure. You can definitely put some earphones on top. So actually, as a bonus accessory, I think it's kind of nice touch. And the headphone cable, of course, that goes with them. Here it is. As you can see, with one minor drawbacks, package is really premium. Design is really stunning and also exceeds my expectations based on the price tag. They definitely deliver that promised vintage aesthetics, but at the same time, at closer look, it's kind of obvious that it's a pretty modern product because a lot of things here shows that modern technologies and approach to material works, like this radial texture, for example, that captions, that notches, and so on. Main part is headband. It's made of one stripe of springy steel. It has a pretty noticeable clamping force, actually pretty surprisingly strong force. Most likely it was done to provide a good secure fit on your head. But at the same time they will be pushed onto your ears in a pretty noticeable way. And combined with the fact that cups here have zero swivel, that means that you'll need to accommodate and get used to this pressure. I didn't experience a lot of issues, but like every 2 hours I felt the urge to take them off for 15 minutes or so. Headband is wrapped in that probably lambskin. I didn't test it, how natural and how lamb it is, but probably if it's declared, let's believe it. Interesting gold accents here. You can see also a lot of small things that definitely show that design was well thought, not just some random copy-paste stuff. Interesting size adjustment with clickers. It's not super strong, but at the same time will allow you to adjust to the size you'd like. And for nitpickers like I am, you have this scale so you can adjust the equal settings on both sides. Cable is made replaceable, which is probably a plus for such headphones. so you won't have issues and need to resolder it like it happens with Porta Pro. And as you can see, they are pretty open because there are a lot of damping holes on the caps, so they are not closed back. Sound isolation is like not almost absent, but definitely below average. So it's typical for such form factor, same as Porta Pro. It's not for super noisy environment or for places where you need to keep silence and not get people around you mad with your music. So let's remove this ear pad. Typical foam ear pad, interesting in terms of color, really looks vintage. And here it is, you can see driver, you can see that it has protective grille, but also on top they have some kind of additional protection mesh, so they definitely invested efforts in protecting the driver. Cable made replaceable, here used MMCX connectors, so really good idea. Probably you can use any IAM cable without ear hooks with them. Connectors are pretty tight fitting, cable itself is in fabric insulation. There is a microphone with button talk control, it goes to the splitter, and below the splitter it goes to regular 3.5mm connector. So in terms of design they are great, fitting comfort is like average, but it's the price to pay for this full metal build and retro stylistics. When it comes to the sound of these headphones, there are really absolutely polar opinions on the internet. Some people hyping think that it's the greatest sound they've heard and it's a real steal. Other people think that it's an absolute trash and it's better to pick it up with a shovel, throw to dumpster, set the dumpster on fire, and so on. I'm trying to avoid such opinions because I don't agree with both, and of course it's really rewarding in terms of YouTube algorithms when you make negative reviews. I don't like doing that, so what's about the sound of these headphones? They are really colored, and they are colored in a fun and interesting way. But as it happens with a lot of colored headphones and sources, decks, and stuff, other audio stuff, either you like this coloring or not. If you like it, it will be really, if it matches your sound preferences, if it matches your music taste, it will be a really great, rewarding experience. If you don't like such coloration, it will be absolute horror for you, and that's it. So I will try to describe the sound of these headphones and let you decide whether you like it or not. Because, in my opinion, they are not bad. They are not for everyone, like, I don't know, like spicy food, for example. If you don't like it, you just can't enjoy it and that's it. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. Sometimes it can be bad, of course, but that's not the case. So, bass is accented, it's pretty powerful. Main accent is made on the mid bass, it's kind of warm, but at the same time it has okay resolution, not of course some marvel in terms of texturing and delivering small nuances, but at the same time instrument sounds pretty realistic, with one exception: they are enlarged in size and moved forward. With some tracks it's a really pleasant experience, with others it can be a bit not too natural, but it's a matter of preferences here once again. And as an example, Musica Nuda, Passione, you get a really forward big double bass with a lot of sense of wood, and at the same time you'll get every nuance highlighted and demonstrated to you. But at the same time, thanks to the spike at the upper mids, Petra Mahoney's vocal also sounds really interesting here. So, lower mids are shadowed by bass. It's unavoidable with this amount of low frequencies, and it's just a physics. So don't expect lower part of mids being super resolving or focused on small nuances. No, Resolution is kind of okay, but definitely not the strongest part of lower mids here. Instead, you're getting a bit of warmth and additional body. For some genres, it's great. For acoustic jazz, for example, for some electronic music, for pop music. For genres like metal or, I don't know, orchestral music, it won't be the greatest choice. Upper mids are forward, highlighted, and have a noticeable spike, partially to compensate low frequencies, and partially, I think, to make sound more engaging in the upper mid. So female vocals and some instruments like violins are really forward too. And if you don't like this spike, it can be a bit too spicy for you. Also, the spike makes them not really forgiving for the quality of record. But what is surprising here with that audiophilic type of recording, when there are not many instruments and they are recorded perfectly, it sounds pretty pleasant. Imaginary stage is about average in width and in depth, but at the same time it's kind of unusual because vocals are often moved forward as well as the instruments of the lower spectrum. And here is the example, Joe Cocker, Night Calls. Actually, here is a vocal that not absolutely hitting into the spike here, it's slightly below that. But at the same time, it's above that area that is impacted by the low frequencies. So vocal of Joe sounds really nice, but at the same time, it's lacking a bit of definition in the accompanying instruments. So not an audiophilic type of listening anyway. Treble has about average extension. It's not really boosted, but actually because of that spike at the upper mid, sometimes they seems to be sound harsh on treble, but usually this harshness comes not from the treble, but from the upper mids. In general, treble is pretty well balancing low frequencies here in terms of quantity. In terms of quality, it's just a regular dynamic driver, not super fast, not super slow, like, you know, somewhere in between, like good for basic overtones, partially for extended overtones, but don't expect some audiophilic layering or something like that. And example is No Quarter by Led Zeppelin. Interesting introduction, and bass part is highlighted and boosted, but at the same time guitar sounds not natural, but kind of engaging, and also everything else is kind of in between these polar positions. In terms of pairing, they have 32 ohms of impedance and 115 decibels of sensitivity, which means that they don't require a lot of power and also don't require super black background. And as these headphones are pretty colored, that means that they don't require something super technical too. So they will be pretty okay with laptops, smartphones, and stuff like that. Of course, if they don't have some really colored output, so it's enough of coloration in these headphones alone, so no, it's better not to add something on top of that. Speaking about the compressions, first model that came to my mind is Snow Sky Wind, because I reviewed them not so long ago, and they are kind of opposite to this model. Much less bass, more focus on the mids and treble, and it's a matter of preferences probably. But of course, wind is much less expensive and more plasticky in terms of design and build. Cos Porta Pro also more balanced, slightly better tuned. Both headphones actually have that idea of tuning in mind with boosting bass to accommodate the street usage, because you're losing low frequencies on the street due to external noise. But course Porta Pro is doing it a bit better in terms of sound anyway. So if you want to better, more refined sound, of course, Porta Pro is your choice. If you want a better design, then Distant Mountain can be your option. But keep in mind that it's still a colored headphones. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a great day.